Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another random review. I have two more random ones before I get back to a Hitchcock marathon. And this is a film that I've never heard of. It was another things scrolling through Netflix. I came across it, and I'm trying to just pull up the cover. And it's a film from 2019, and it's called, I don't know how you can see that. I have to do this on the tablet. Assimilate. 2019, and I have to say it. There were things that really made me not want to like it, but at the end of the day, I really ended up really enjoying it and finding it very entertaining. Has a 5.3 on IMDb. I have to use IMDb because there's no Wikipedia. Has a 55 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. And it was directed and written by John Merlowski. Also written by Stephen Palmer Peterson. It says from the producer of Independence Day and 300. Now, I'm assuming that's the 300, the Independence Day that just came out. Let's see if I can bring up producer, cast and crew. It's sort of a zombie, well, no, I don't want to say zombie film. It's an alien invasion film. But I really just want to pull up the goddamn producer's name. That would be great. I'm not used to using IMDb on the full cast and crew. Alright, produced by, who would it be? Gives me a shit ton. That's great. All associates, executives, lines, and regular producers. So you know what? The guy from 300 and Independence Day. And it stars Joel Courtney, Caleb Worthy, and Annie Matichak in the in the leads. And it's my girlfriend coughing. She always sleeps on her back and ends up fucking coughing. So yeah, it kind of goes back and forth between a regular film and found footage, because Joel Courtney and Caleb Worthy play two best friends, Zach and Randy, and they come from, does it even say? It doesn't even say their town. It's one very rural, out in the middle of nowhere towns. They want to make a web series just talking about people in their town. So they have these little tiny cameras, and it keeps going back and forth between film and found footage. And well, the film opens up on this leaf with these little tiny, almost like nanites, like ants. And there's a woman panicking. Someone's trying to get in, and we see that they're running around, they're leaping, they're screeching. You think it's a zombie film. And it gets her. And then, of course, we jump to the main film. And just as the film goes on, more and more of the town's inhabitants, like starting with the priest, and then the girl, Kayla, who's played by Andy Matichak, who, that's Kayla, Joe Courtney is Zach. Caleb Worthy is Randy. Zach likes her. Her dad starts acting that way. Just very robotic, monotone, and creepy. And they decide to try to figure out what's going on. And at first it gets very confusing because we see like these little airborne, almost like atoms, like floating towards the town. Then we see like the ants. Oh, it's the priest, and it's like this neighborhood lady that they kind of have the hots for. And then it's Kayla's parents. The woman that, because they hear her screaming, they go and she says she got bit. And there's like this like rat, kind of like, we can't really see it. It's like a rat thing. So at first it's very confusing because this rat thing, they see it goes into a cooler that the priest has. The priest is in an SUV with these other people. So they go back to calm her down. Let me see if I can word this better. The priest is already... Actually, no, they haven't. I just watched this. This review's gonna suck. I'm already messed up. Okay. So that one lady, they hear her scream. They go help her. She's got a bite on her leg. It's that little rat thing scurrying around. So they chase it. It goes in willingly into this cooler held by the priest, who's in an SUV with a bunch of people. They try to get help by the local deputy, who thinks they're pretty much being like an Ashton Kutcher punked type show. The show hasn't taken off yet, but everyone knows everyone, so they know what everyone's up to. And of course, the priest is acting all the monotonous, robotic, sort of Stepford wife kind of demeanor. Then that lady starts acting that way. She shows her leg, there's no bite. She wants to take him into the bedroom because they hear like banging and noises. They leave, but when they go look, it's like a jock from their high school. But there's like two of them, one tied to the bed and one that's acting like an alien, or like a zombie rather. And then Kayla's dad starts acting that way, and that's when the three of them get together and realize more and more of the town is becoming that way. And at first I was confused because I was like, okay, how does this airborne thing, these ants, this biting bug rat thing, and the alien from before all come into play? Like, what do they all have to do with each other? And it wasn't making a lot of sense. And another thing that is a huge flaw with this movie, normally I would fucking hate it, but I was entertained, and I do realize it's low budget. Some scenes I let it go, other scenes it's just unforgivable, which I'll get to. The CGI. There is horrendous CGI in this fucking movie. Which, yeah, okay, the biting bug rat thing is really fast. You can't really see it. That CGI. Zach's dad is in a wheelchair. He's a paraplegic. He's a double amputee. His stumps are really bad CGI. And then what's at the end is just unforgivable CGI. I fault I fault the film on that, but I still enjoy it. As the film goes on, more and more of the town becomes more, there's just more and more and more of them, of these just blank slate, emotionless, seemingly common collective conscience. Um, at first, I thought it was zombies, some sort of zombie. And that's the thing. I think I said earlier that it's very derivative. It is derivative of so many other horror movies. I mean, okay, it's it's like the the Crazies because it kind of has this zombie feel, but not like a zombie, more of like a cold, calculating type of zombie. Stepford Wives because of like the demeanor, just the oh, how is everything? Okay. Why do you think I'm acting weird? Um, uh, Slither because it seems like there's a common collective. So a little tiny bit of Slither, not really. I just felt like mentioning it. Alien, just because of how many stages there are that go into creating these entities. You know, like Alien, you have the egg, then you have the face hugger, which creates the chest burster, which gives you the xenomorph. With this, there's a little bit more steps to it. So, very little Alien, as much Alien as Slither. Um, the thing, because these entities are exact copies of the humans that they represent. They're exact copies. Um, and ultimately and mostly Invasion of the Body Snatchers because they all have an ultimate goal: take over the planet. Um, they sense you're human by your emotion. When they sense emotion, CGI, but it kind of looks cool. Their mouth gets really big and they let out this ear-piercing screech that they all can hear and they all go after you. Okay, so how it works. I'm going to say spoilers here because it did come out last year, 2019. It is on Netflix. I do recommend it. Despite its CGI, despite how unoriginal it is, I don't want to say it's completely lacking originality because hell, I'll even say automaton transfusion just because the small town, how rapid it spreads. But I do find entertainment value in it. I enjoyed it, but I'm going to say spoilers here. Because here we find out where the title um, Assimilate comes from, and ultimately, not quite how everything is put together, but how the copies are made. Because we also see earlier on there's like this pod, like this moist black alien pod. That's what, okay, so they're not zombies, they're aliens. We see that back in Kayla's house early on. Because they're led to their barn where their computer is, where they try to upload everything. And all these townspeople are around them. They open the coolers to let the things in to bite them. Randy gets bit. And Zach's mom is out there. She's tied up, but there's already a pod out there. The pod, and also from the opening of the film, where the screeching, fast running zombie thing. Okay, so the thing bites you. If you're bit, you're fine. unless, because then that thing either turns into a pod or it goes to a pod, it spews your DNA, it creates the physical copy of you, and then it becomes this primitive, rabid, running, screeching, screaming zombie that will hunt you. And when it gets a hold of you, yeah, it's CGI and it's kind of over the top, but it holds on to you and it assimilates your all of your memories, like your voice, your memories, everything like that. So there's all these layers, and then just to get out of the way, later you find out that all those ants. I guess the airborne thing is the ants. That they land, they form together to form the biting thing. Bites you, goes to the pod, or becomes the pod, forms the physical copy. That's the naked zombie. And then it hunts you down, grabs you, it assimilates and copies your memories. It becomes the thing that walks around. So I'm like, okay, that at least that's kind of different. I mean, it's still very much like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, especially the 78 version, which so far is my favorite. This, which I think the French title of this film is like La Invasion. It almost feels like a loose remake, which I know there's been like 40 remakes of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and I know Body Snatchers was another one that was up for a remake in 2019, 20, somewhere in there. I would be surprised if this was it, but I'm not seeing anything of it. Like trivia. It was originally going to be titled Extinction Event or Replicate. It's still heavily derivative of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and I say the thing because copies, but even though Body Snatchers does that as well. Eventually, because Randy gets bit, and that's when we find out it's not, because it plays off, it starts like a zombie movie because there's bites, and it slowly evolves into this alien invasion film. So if you're bitten, you're fine. You just can't, be attacked by your copy. And just everywhere, because eventually Randy runs outside to buy them time. He kind of sacrifices himself. Even Zach's dad, they realize he's the copy because he has legs and he's walking. The deputy, eventually, you get this cool scene in the deputy's trailer when they all get together and they just keep turning the trailer over. They keep trying to get Kayla's younger brother and, get him to safety. It does have a downer ending, which it does have like an Invasion of the Body Snatchers type, like where they have to walk like perfectly emotionless to blend in, and it does work. But there are a couple scenes where they, like, their mouths do get really like long with CGI and screech. Eventually, they get away. They are able to upload, because they think if they upload their footage, the rest of the world will see it and someone will come to help. And this is a huge spoiler for the ending, so if you're still watching, big spoiler. The twist of the ending is when they upload it, they get to this house where her brother is, and they're watching the news or just footage from around the world, and you find out this wasn't the first town for this invasion. It was actually the last. And I was like, okay, that I haven't quite seen done before. I mean, yeah, there's like Lucio Fulci's Zombie when they're going back to the city and you find out everything's already been fucked over there. But here it shows you Washington, Paris, London, just all over the place. It is already like invaded. It's already done. And this is the unforgivable CGI because they really couldn't find a way to film people in those locations. It is CGI people. It looks like it essentially just looks like The Sims. It looks like The Sims are on the news when it's showing the global invasion. It looked pretty terrible, but I liked the twist. So it was downbeat, but I wasn't expecting that. I probably should have. So, and then it was really going to get depressing because it ends with their YouTube videos because it just established they're the last town, so the whole world is done for. Shows their YouTube, footage, and it says no views. So it's like they went through all that for nothing. But then the comments start coming in, like, there's 5 of us in Boston, there's a couple of us in Prague, like, are you still there? So there are a handful of people still out there. Kind of sets it up for a sequel. This movie's heavily derivative. It is very, very, very much like a handful of other films. I mean, you see a bit of the Crazies, the Stepford Wives, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I guess lightly hints would be like, because it's also a progression film. You think it's going to be a zombie film, but it ends up being very much like a Body Snatchers loose remake, it feels like. I mentioned the Crazies, Slither, Alien, The Thing, Body Snatchers. There's a lot of things you can pinpoint with it. And there is some horrible CGI. There is some irreprehensible CGI. But I liked our 3 leads. Especially the 2 friends, Zach and Randy. They had good chemistry. I liked their friendship. There's even a part where the clone Randy is talking to Zach, where he's not quite screeching to give him up. He's kind of talking with the memories he has. I think Zach is kind of trying to not show that he's still normal. So it's like they're still meeting each other kind of halfway so Kayla can stop Randy. And then when he starts screeching, Zach has to drown him in the lake, but so the others can't hear him. Believable emotion when they have to kill friends and loved ones. So yeah, even though there's horrible, horrible, horrible CGI, and it is heavily, heavily, heavily derivative, and it's unoriginal, but there is enough of it done in its own way that I can forgive it. I just really found this film very entertaining, and for these, pretty sure it's a Netflix exclusive. Could be wrong. But, you know, for something I never heard of, that straight independence or maybe straight to Netflix, either or, it was better than I expected. But yeah, that is the 2019 alien invasion film, uh, Assimilate. Kind of forgot what it was called. Thank you for watching.